Right then, I've decided to do a quick random multiplayer stream today because I haven't been online that much this week. It's been a busy week with schools off and running around. So get your cup of coffee, sit down, relax. I think everything's set up and working. Oh god, that was a big chunk of coffee. Let's get some lights on. Every time I do this, I end up moving the camera. Oh, that was the wrong way of moving the camera. I gotta try to make me. Yeah, no, the camera's a little bit off to the left, I think. Oh, that'll have to do. Right, not quite sure what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go. Let's have a look. Might get my trailer for starters. So that would be trailer manager. This one. Relocate where I am. And we'll do use. Well, that was a rather big bang. Oh, it's all on board anyway. Right, see if we can find a job then, shall we? So jobs. Cargo. Let's just take one from where I am. Oh, 99, 42 hours. Fair trek. Would I do that? Might do that. Actually, it's kind of tires. Goes to I don't want to go to Italy. I've been to Italy quite a bit recently. I think I'll go with that one. Why the hell not? Oh, it's just across the way. Let's knock that off. I don't need that on. Should have gone a little bit further. think we're in. Engine, that one. I forgot my keys already, for crying out loud. Load her up and we'll be off. Looks like it's just going to be a nice drive. Quiet roads, cup of coffee. Maybe I should have done single player, then I would have traffic at least. But hey, we'll do this job. If anybody decides to join in later on, I can always cancel this job if people want to join, but... Otherwise I'll do this, and if it's quiet then I'll swap to single player, or maybe another game, who knows. Oh my god, I made that strong. Need to keep an eye on the rear end there, nearly caught the barriers coming round. So what are we? Well, it's 3:19 in the morning, which is good. It's quite light actually considering, but that's probably because we're a lot further north than usual. I hate these border checks. They suck. Ooh. Ah. My camera is in the wrong place. Oops. I think it's touching the back of the chair, which means it's gonna... Yeah, it's touching the back of the chair. That was my mistake. Oh, so start the border check. You got to press a button. Oh Jesus, I'm sitting there like a lemon. Okay, another border check. great. I was hoping I could at least go down, turn around so I can sort out the truck, but I can't, because they block you off. Suck. Let me sort this out. Oh, we shouldn't have an issue now without touching the back. Thought that was a bit weird. Let's try again. Tell you what I will do. Right, perhaps we can make a move now and make some mileage. Oh, for God's sake. I didn't save it, did I? I always have a really bad habit of doing that. What is going on? Why is that changed? Something's not right here. Hello, Equalizer. Britain's Got Talent is on. Not much talent going on at the moment, is there? Right. It's as if it's stuck on auto. Right, hold on. Yeah, there's no box. What is going on? Right, that's gone on and it shouldn't have. H pattern. Okay, that should be fine there. Boom, 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 boom. Right, let's try that then. That's looking more promising. 44-hour job and I've gone about 10 yards. Ah, you've got to be shitting me, I swear. I really do. This game's gonna wind me up today. Right, I need to find a place where I can pull over again, because I swear I'm just going to flip out. Right. Somebody just remind me to press accept when I hit the button. This has gone on, it's back on simple automatic again. Oh my god. Oh, that's reset the defaults, that's what I'm doing, right. It's not saving the profile bit though. Options. I'm having one of those days. Assumption units. Okay. Controls. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine, that's okay, that's okay. Right, I think we're done. If not, I'm going to give up. Ugh. Try and get this thing going as fast as we can. So what do we got? 87 hours to do the job in, 40 hours 52 to get there. We're not going to go over 60 if we can remember to do so. Whoa. Hello, son of God, how you doing? So, you have an i5 4440, 1150. Wait. Do you want to write that again? Because you're confusing the hell out of me. So an i5 CPU... You're saying you got an i5 CPU and you want to change it for another one? I've not heard of an i7. Do you mean 7700? What you would need to... The thing with PCs is you need to make sure that your motherboard supports the CPU you're plugging in. So even though it may have the correct socket, doesn't mean the BIOS has been updated to support it. So what you need to do is find out what motherboard you got, go to the motherboard manufacturer, type in the motherboard name and number, and then you should be able to have a CPU list, and it will tell you what CPUs are supported and what BIOS version you need for that CPU. So then you have to check what BIOS is on your motherboard, and if you've got the correct BIOS you can plug it in straight away. If you don't, you have to download the BIOS and update your processor details in the BIOS. So it's not always as straightforward as you think. Majority of the time though, you probably don't need to update unless you're doing a really big major update. And an i7 and an i5 ain't the world of difference, to be honest. They're very similar. But that's what I would do. I would just double check the motherboard. Not quite sure why my mic is registering a sound, so I'll have to listen to this on playback. I wonder what audio it's picking up. Hey Jonathan, how you doing? How did you get banned? It's been flashing the lights of the girls. Wait, are there any girls who play this? I suppose there are. I know of the odd one or two, but not that many. Hey, good guy. My bad, I didn't have my indicator on. Yeah, it's... You know, at the end of the day, you know, as long as you're not hindering somebody else's game, then I don't see what the problem is. You know, there's times when people get away with murder, there's other times when they'll pick you up for the smallest thing, and that's one of the things I dislike with the way the multiplayer is run. Some of the people who, you know, mod, you know, look over what's right, what's wrong, they're not very consistent at the best of times. You know, you hear the horror stories. Thankfully, I haven't been dealt out any issues yet, but no doubt that will probably come at some point, and when it does, I'll probably just log off and not bother again, you know? It's just like, well, I can't be bothered. But at the end of the day, they want people to enjoy the game. It's like, well, you're not doing a really good job about it. Any update with the name? And I've left it for the time being. It's I haven't been able to give as much time to the channel at the moment, so there's no point in thinking about revamping anything properly until things are back to normal. Oh really? What do they ban him for? That's seems rather harsh to do both. But then again, they do state in terms and conditions, to be honest, that if you're banned on one account, if you have any subsequent accounts, they will be banned as well. It's not very often they'll follow through with that. And I think, you know, I think what the problem there is, they probably banned him, and he's probably come back straight away on a different account. And they can probably see when you're logging in under another account. Maybe if you left it 24 hours? But I don't know, I mean, I haven't watched Mark for a while, so I'm not quite sure whether he was on an account, got banned, and then jumped in on another account, because if he did that, yeah, you should have just left it and done something else. It's awkward, he likes to stream a lot, and, you know, I can understand why he would swap, but that is one of the rules. If you have multiple accounts and they find your multiple accounts, if you're banned on one, you're banned on all. There we are then. So what you want to do there, son of God, is copy and paste the Asus H81M-E into something like Google. It should take you to the website. It'll take you to the motherboard page, and on that page it'll list the CPUs that will work with it. And if the i7 CPU that you're looking at matches that, and that'll tell you that yes, it will work, and it should also tell you what BIOS revision you need. Chances are your BIOS may be up to date, but if you've got an early edition and it's not been updated, you need to update the BIOS before you even put the chip in, otherwise the chip won't work. Oh, I wouldn't be able to look at it yet. I'm too busy driving, and I'm not going to stop the stream just to look up a motherboard. Why are you looking at changing your CPU? i5 CPU isn't going to be much slower than an i7. What are you planning on doing? Well, what graphics card do you run? Well, it depends on where you're suffering. What I would do is put both CPU models into Google. So, you know, your i5 whatever model number versus i7 and the model number, and find out what kind of frames per second benefit you'll get from upgrading just the CPU. Otherwise, if there isn't a lot in it, you may be better off selling your graphics card and upgrading the graphics card instead, because a lot of games these days prefer a better GPU over CPU. You know, it's like most of the games I play, ETS especially, it prefers having a lot of GPU power. Whoa, that was a bit wide. Yeah, well, those two are definitely ones that use CPU power. I'm assuming you're running DDR3 RAM. Yeah, well, on i7 you may benefit, but I would do your existing CPU versus the CPU you're looking at and see what kind of extra frames you can expect by upgrading. Because if it doesn't bring a lot to the table for the extra you're paying, maybe you're better off at selling the CPU motherboard that you have and upgrade the system completely. Especially when you think about there's the new chips from AMD coming out. So the Ryzen 3000 series looks kind of tempting. They haven't done the full reviews yet, but from what they've posted so far, it sounds pretty good. Yeah, that's what I mean though. You know, when I'm talking about upgrading your motherboard and CPU, you know, what you're doing at the moment is replacing an old CPU with another old CPU. You know, how much is the new CPU going to cost you? Is it second hand? Are you buying it brand new? You know, if it's only going to cost you, say, 30, 40 quid to change, then fair enough, I can understand. But if you're going to be forking out 100, 200, that's 100, 200 you could be investing in a brand new CPU. It's what I did with my AMD system upstairs. I had an older Intel 3770K, I think it was. I was overclocking that anywhere from 4.6 to 4.7. You know, it was good, but it was an older chip, you know? But I'd certainly rather have, I mean, with the AMD system that's up there now, I'd certainly rather have the 8-core 16 threads rather than the 4-core 8 thread. Especially when it comes to encoding. And of course the older CPUs from Intel are open to a lot more vulnerabilities. Even some of the new ones, which is rather worrying. Considering I'm running an i9. Eek! £130. Yeah. When you think about it, you could get yourself a new AMD motherboard would be around £100 mark, and like an AMD 2600, I think it is about 150 quid if I remember correctly. I might be wrong. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. You know. It would cost you a bit more, but you'd be up to date in terms of hardware. Oops. Do not text and drive, folks. I can end up crashing now. Quite sure if he was actually going across or not. We'll do the CPU versus look on Google. You know, your existing CPU versus the new one, and you should have plenty of charts that'll tell you, you know, frames per second on one, frames per second on another. Some i5 chips are not far off what an i7 chip can do in gaming. This is why I would say double check it. Because you might be spending 130 quid and for what, 5, you know, if you're only getting, say, an extra 5 frames, 10 frames, is it really worth it for 130 quid? Probably not. You know, if you're changing the CPU and it's going to gain you an extra 30 to 40 frames, absolutely. .38 in the morning, the sun is out. Ooh, lovely jubbly. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, you can't see that over there. There's some building works going on over that way. If the road bends around, we might get to see it. Looks good in the distance. 32 hours, wow. There we are. Well, we've done 10 hours at least already. That was rather quick. Don't forget those people who are lurking in chat or watching. Yes, chat is open. Yes, you can say hello. I can read it and I will answer. That's assuming I'm not busy looking at the road. But yeah, feel free to say hi. Multiplayer is dead at the moment for me, so anybody who says hi, it'll be a welcome distraction. Well, the good news is it's an i7K series, which means you can overclock. So that one at 4 GHz wouldn't surprise me. If you overclock it and you've got good cooling on it, you could probably guarantee you get 4.5. You might be able to push 4.8. But I would hedge my bets. You'll probably get between 4.6, 4.7, and an extra 500 megahertz isn't to be sniffed at. That can certainly help, you know, raise the frames good. But again, overclocking, slightly more voltage, you definitely need more cooling. You could try undervolting it when you overclock. That sometimes works. Really depends how good you are on the silicon lottery, to be honest. And I would probably recommend overclocking on that one. It's what I used to do. Oh, as far as I'm aware, most games when it comes to multi-screen, it's preferable to have screens of the same size and resolution. So, you know, if you're running a 1080p screens on all of them, it's preferable still to have 16:9 on all rather than one ultra-wide and two 16:9, because it can throw off the calculation and how it works. I'm not sure whether you can get past the issue you have. Oh, son of God, you certainly don't have to overclock, but what I'm saying is it is a K-series CPU, so it is open for overclocking. So if later down the line you think, oh, I could do with a little bit more, you've always got overclocking as an option. You know, at the end of the day, it's up to you if you want to do that or not. Joe, you might want to look for the ETS multi-screen setup guide that was done by SCS, I think it is. You could certainly have a look at that, but I don't know. I've never used different resolutions or different size screens, so I think you will suffer. I don't know if there's a way of correcting that problem. Certainly not that I'm aware of, anyway. Is it a K-series CPU? If it's a K-series, then it's open for overclocking, but if it's not, you're probably going to struggle. Because the Ks are unlocked. Anything that doesn't have a K in it is a locked CPU. It can be different for every board. Sometimes you just have to add in more voltage and you just change the core clock speed. You may get away with a simple overclock. Best thing to do is, again, type in your CPU that you have and then type in overclock in Google. There'll probably be plenty of guides out there that will tell you how to do it. You can even do a search via the motherboard and type overclock on the end, and there'll probably be a guide for your motherboard as well. There's plenty of people who do it. But every CPU does it slightly different from the next one. Every motherboard will be slightly different to the next one as well. So it's pointless me, you know, trying to guide you when I don't have any experience of that particular motherboard. Jake, hello, how you doing? Yeah, most motherboards you're going to be fine. You'll be able to do some degree of overclocking. Obviously, the more expensive the motherboard, the better. It's the CPU that's important. You know, you've got to have a K-series CPU when it comes to Intel, because if you don't have a K-series, then it's going to be locked. But again, if you don't know what you're doing with overclocking, I'd advise against doing it. Because if you put in the wrong voltage, if you put in the wrong setting, you could fry your CPU, and then you are buying a new CPU, you know? These monitors are 144 Hz. They're not running in 144 Hz though, because when I'm streaming, I can't stream and run 144 Hz at the same time off the same PC, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So I have to knock it down to 60 Hz to be able to stream smoothly, because it's too much of a load for one PC to do. But if I'm not streaming and playing a game, depending on the game, absolutely, I can put G-Sync 144 on and away you go. This, when I've got G-Sync running and I'm not streaming, buttery smooth. It is so nice. Coming back to 60 Hz is like eek, but I enjoy streaming, so I swap it back and forth as and when. But you know, obviously with FreeSync 2 being out there, and Nvidia cards now supporting FreeSync, you're not limited to getting just a G-Sync screen. You can always look at FreeSync, which may save you some money as well. But if you do, just double check that the FreeSync monitor that you're looking at has been seen to work with Nvidia cards if you do have an Nvidia card. Because not all FreeSync monitors will work with an Nvidia card. Not at the rated frequency. Certainly at 60 Hz it'll be fine. Some screens may have issues. See, why is that? Yeah, okay. I can see. Oh, I can see. That's saying 60. That's locked to 60, but we're only doing 55. So what are we on? 28 hours. It's going down quite quick, actually. Looks like I'm still getting a bit of frame stutter from OBS. OBS, pain in the butt. I think that's more to do with the Windows update. Usually if I go into If I go into that shot, it should be better frames per second, but when I do, CPU is dropping now and again. 26% usage. $27, but go back to there. Does it drop down? Ah, that's interesting. Drop it to back into the cab, but it goes back down to 24%. There's a good 5 or 6% CPU usage. Oh no, it's back up again. Strange. Got an idea what that could be actually. Well, it should be interesting for tomorrow. Tomorrow I've got a Rift S. I couldn't stop in time. Jesus Christ. Got a Rift S arriving. So we'll have a look at that tomorrow. I've never used a Rift, so it'll be interesting to see how a Rift #1 compares to the Vive that I've got. Just got the bog standard Vive modified with a lens mod. So it'll be interesting to see how it looks. I'm interested more in, one, the frame rate. As people say, that certainly for the drivings and flight sims and things, you tend to get a better frame rate, a smoother experience. Two, because the panels technically are higher resolution and LCD panels, not OLED, you should get one smarter image. Not a smart, what's the word I'm looking for? My mind's just gone blank. A higher resolution image, and two, a cleaner image due to less screen door effect. So tomorrow will be, I might do an unboxing, but I know there's plenty of unboxings for it already, so there probably won't be a lot of interest for that. But I'll certainly be looking at comparing through the lens of a Vive and the Rift S and my experience of it in the games that I play. So we'll have a look at ATS VR, we'll have a look at probably a little bit of Elite Dangerous, see how the blacks compare, the darkness. We'll have a look at Project Cars, maybe even Assetto Corsa, or ACC I should say. ACC doesn't really support triples, but if it works well on the Rift S and I'm happy with the Rift S moving forward, I plan to be doing that in VR. Tried it the other day in VR, it worked quite well on the Vive, but again, if I get better performance out of the Rift S, and then the idea is then I've got a couple of days to weigh up which one I prefer, and if I prefer the Rift, then I'll be keeping it and look at selling the Vive if I'm not happy with the Rift, or if I can't get on with it, because there's always the IPD setting on it, which may be a problem because it is quite narrow for me. My IPD is around 66, 67, but the Rift is kind of fixed at 63.5. You've got some adjustment in software, but it's not very good to use software. But we'll see. If I can live with it, then great. If not, then it'll be returned. God damn, what have I done to these brakes? The shot. 27 hours, 17 minutes. We're going from the Baltic Sea area right the way over to France. So it's a fair trek, 44-hour job. Hey Roy, how you doing? Oh, he had work, did he? Time to chill then. Time to get a drink, sit back and relax. Yeah, I've had a busy week, so the kids have been off school, so it's thrown me off a little bit. But I thought I'd do a random stream today, and I missed my ETS stream this week, so thought, well, I'll go on. If no one's around, I'll still do my my mileage. Early shift as well. Oh, that sucks. Me, I've got a day off, and I get new toys arriving tomorrow, so that's going to be brill for me. Eek. Yeah, I just put it in there just in case anybody was around and wanted to tag along. I didn't think anybody would be available, you know, short notice at the end of the day. It was like, doesn't matter though. I was going to play the game regardless. I just wasn't sure whether I was going to go straight into single player multi, so I thought I'll jump into multi, see if anybody's about. If not, and if I carry on playing, which I probably will, I might swap over to single player. At least then be make a little bit more interesting. You'll have traffic. You'll probably have me crashing because of the traffic. Did I finish my coffee? Oh, I got a little bit left. Oh, then again, were you talking about the previous stream? The one on Tuesday? That's all good. So this is a 44-hour now, down to 26. 1,172 miles still to go. I've got 417 litres left in the tank. I'll give it about another 200 miles and then we'll look at stopping, getting fuel, and then I should be set. I can't remember how much this truck holds. I think this only holds about 800. Ugh. We'll see in 200 whether I've done 300 miles or something. Whoa, hold on, there's a sign. You'll log in. How many sunflowers around in this game, don't you think? No running short of them. Oops. All over the shop at the moment. Hello there, Gareth. How you doing? I'm doing very well, thank you very much. As just chillin'. Good old ETS. I was trying to decide. I was doing Assetto Corsa yesterday. Did that in VR, so I thought, shall I do some more Assetto Corsa? And I thought, nah, let's wait. We'll probably do it again tomorrow anyway, because we'll be doing some tests in VR anyway. So I thought, what about Project Cars? And I thought, well, we missed ETS this week, so I'll do ETS today, and we'll look at doing more over the weekend. Maybe some ATS on the weekend as well. Oh. So, what's the plan then, Gareth? Come on, you got a PC now. You gonna give up on the Xbox? You coming back to the world of PC, or you're gonna be bouncing between the two? Staying on Xbox. What'd you get a new PC for then? You're splashing the cash. Your last PC made you money. You managed to sell it for a profit. Was pretty good going. Yeah, see, well, if you're able to find someone who wants to buy a PC and they don't know what they're buying, then fair enough, you can get away with it. Okay, we're drifting a little bit. Let's get back in lane, shall we? What are we on? 369 litres, 1,079 miles. Going good. It's going good. Well, there we are. See, your motherboard supports it. So do that Google search now for your i5 versus the i7 you're looking at, and see what kind of frames per second benefit you're going to get in the tests that have been done. Because remember, in games, depending on the i5 chip, you may not be far off what an i7 can do anyway. That's good. Don't need a BIOS update, so you don't have to worry about that. So it supports it out of the box. One less thing to worry about. So you know you can drop one in if you decide to go ahead for it. I would just do the homework now. Just do i5 versus i7, and you should get plenty of YouTube videos, plenty of websites that will give you charts. That's weird. It's usually the other way around. It's usually when you unlock a CPU, or you put in an unlocked CPU like the K series. Well, have a look. Have a look and let me know what the just pick like 4 games at random. Make sure you're looking at the resolution that you play at. So if it's 1080p, make sure it's 1080p resolution or something. And just check what the difference between that chip and the other chip is in, say, 4 games. There's a rest stop up here. I'm going to need to rest again. I want to check something. can't get this thing to save. That's fine. Keys. Ouch. The only thing I can think of. Right, 22 hours. Let's see how quick we're going to do these last 22 hours. Not any quicker than when we did the first 22 hours, no doubt, because I keep stopping. Right, I've got to check something because this is doing my nut in. Where's the mouse? Right, let's try that again, shall we? Because that's been doing my head in. Alright, let's go that way, shall we? Whoa. Oh, fuck. Ah. There's always something with this game. Just when you think you fixed it. .5% damage to the cab, 5% damage to the trailer. Who knew? Zero to the goods. That's what counts. $20 and 9. Just ticking along nicely. Ugh. It's taken me so far 1 hour 22 to do 20 hours. That's quite some time. Mileage is 271. We have 886 miles left. We might want to find a fuel stop. Looks like one's coming up in about a kilometer, so we should be able to stop there, pick up some fuel. Yeah, but exactly, how much difference is the FPS, though, between the two? Yes, an i7 when it comes to your daily task, but if all you want it for is gaming, then just double check how much FPS you're going to get per game, rough approximately. You know, it's pointless you spending 130 quid on a new chip if all you're going to get is like an extra 5 frames per second. That's what I'm saying. You know, it's about getting the best bang for buck. Sometimes you may be better off investing in something else. Because you've got two ways of looking at it. You buy an i7, sell your CPU. Whoops. Oh, God. You know, so whatever you get for your CPU, and then depending on how many extra frames you get. No, I don't think you're understanding me, sorry. You need to find out what the average frame per second is between an i5 and an i7. So let's say your current CPU gets you 40 frames per second in a game. You add the i7 in, but you're getting an extra, say, 10 frames per second. Then we need to try and factor, okay, is it worth spending 130 quid on an i7 to get an extra 10? Or are you better selling a graphics card and getting a better graphics card by spending 130 quid on top of what you sell your graphics card for, and buying a new one and maybe gaining an extra 30 or 40 frames per second? You know, what I'm saying is you need to look at your CPU and your graphics and find out, right, which one is better for your money. Are you better off with a CPU or graphics? I mean, don't get me wrong, you may be perfectly fine and upgrading to an i7 and it gets you what you want. Happy days. I'm just telling you to do the homework to make sure that you're getting the best bang for your buck. Now, at the end of the day, it's your call. I'm sure an i7 will be an improvement. I just don't know how much. I would personally look at the graphs. Oh, Jesus, I'm going way too fast. Let's do... What was the i5? Versus i7 or 770. Yeah, I think it was. Oh my god. Get rid of those crappy benchmark ones, they're rubbish. No. For 440, yeah, okay. Beep. I can put that in. That sounds like it's going to be quite a difference, to be honest. Just trying to find a nice website, because there's plenty of crappy ones out there that I wouldn't throw as far as I could. It'll just be wasting energy. Next. Come on, phone, go. I'm not going to do a video because I'm not going to sit here and watch a video. So it's a non-K. Well, let's do that one. Might be foreign, but Cinbench, yada yada yada, single core, multi-core. Do they have anything gaming wise? Nope, they don't. See? That's a crummy one. Ugh. I can have a look at YouTube videos, but I haven't got. Can't do YouTube videos and drive. If there's a little pull-off area, I'll use it. Straight on. What was the name of that? Yeah, this one doesn't have non-K in there though, see? Yeah, to give you an example, see, if you a 4400K compared to a 7700K, you get 101 frames in the 4770K. The 770K gets 114. So you're getting 13 frames extra in one particular game, which is like, is it really worth it? But I can't seem to find one that has that particular CPU that you have listed, because it is a lower spec CPU. Let's try that one, but I don't think it has graphics in there. I can find power, PC mark, crystal mark. Yeah, I don't want to know about all that rubbish. Hold on. Whoa, that's a sharper corner than expected. Don't know yet. I'm still looking. Probably. Come on, load in. Blooming cookies get lost. And there's me pressing the wrong button. Right, hold on, we've got a corner coming up, but I got to slow down. Shoot. Right, cruise control back on. Oh, shoot, I pressed an advert. We're going straight on. Yada yada yada, tell me about the chip. Oh God. Hold on. Busy area. That was a bit of a change, wasn't it? This place just lit up. Great. Right, can we cruise it again? Let's get back to what I was doing. I was busy. Alright, and so 4770K is 4-core 8-thread, 3.5 basic, 3.9 max. That's at its normal settings, not overclocked. A 4440 though doesn't even come in. What was it? Are you sure there's one that low? There's a 5470S. Let's do, I don't know, Hitman. So a 4770K and Hitman gets... Really? What graphics card are they using? 34 frames? But anyway, comparing it to... Oh shoot, sorry. I'm knocking everybody off the road. Yeah, in that test I just looked at, I'll probably get banned now. In that test, you were looking at 10, 20 frames. Yes, it is. Gladly I only do it when it's the gaming and I don't do it any other time. It's a tricky one. It's... as with anything, it depends on what you're willing to spend. The problem is, see, your motherboard's an older motherboard, so for you to get better, really, you'd have to sell your CPU, your motherboard, and upgrade. And that would be a significant upgrade for you. No, I know, but if you go for something that's better, then your CPU usage will be lower. To give you an example, I was running a 3770K overclocked to 4.6, and even that was having problems whilst I was streaming. I know that's streaming and it's a completely different thing, but it goes to show that, you know, a newer system will give you better CPU usage. It just depends on your budget. You know, if your budget is tight, then the 4770K is going to be the best option for you. Not when it comes to gaming. That's the thing. If you look at the same series of CPU, the 47 series of CPU, and you look between the different levels, unfortunately I can't find your i5 CPU. It's not coming up on the list, so it may be something else, maybe something I'm missing. So I don't know where it stacks against a 4770K. But £130, and if it's only a 10 frames per second difference, is that worth spending 130 quid on? Don't get me wrong, I understand what you're saying. You want to lower your CPU usage. Yeah, but it depends on what i5 you're running. I mean, he's running a non-K version, so he can't overclock, and it's an i5 model that I've not heard of. Yeah, the 4440. I don't even know what that is. I'd need to do a bit of homework on that CPU. Ah, 628 miles, 11 hours, 18 to go. CPU ID is only going to tell you about your CPU. Anyway, how you doing? Whoa, 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 whoa. Let's take it easy now, shall we? Try not to wreck mine or anybody else's game. I do. If that guy was watching, I do apologise. If I knew how to use chat in this game, I would say something, but yeah, long gone now. Sorry about that. Wasn't intentional. Just being stupid. Well, you know, lucky enough there are some good tools out there. CPU ID is good. Another good one is CPU Monitor, I think it's called. I'll have to double check, to be honest. But that's a good one for checking your temperatures and checking that your fans are running, or checking what your hard drives are doing and things like that. Checking that your cores are all running. And the good news is they're all free. Right, let's go back to speed limited hell. 9 hours 57. Yeah, MSI Afterburner will tell you what you're doing. I mean, there's no real reason to use MSI Afterburner unless you need to overclock your GPU, or you just want to monitor your temperatures on your GPU or anything. Well, it's got all the right stuff on there by the sounds of it. Uh-oh. You've got a dual card setup. Hope you do more than play ETS with a dual card setup, because you're not going to get much help out of the dual card setup. Son of God, I can't be... It probably will be an improvement, but how much an improvement, I couldn't tell you, because I can't find your CPU. If you want to bite the bullet and try it. But yeah, let's face it, for you to upgrade, you're probably spending 300 minimum. Oh God, clutched it. Calais? Why am I going to Calais? Hopefully I'm just driving past it. Yeah, but you don't need 2 GPUs to do 2 monitors. I mean, I got 1 GPU and it's doing 4 screens. Having 2 GPUs usually means you're running either SLI, what was the AMD version of that? I can't remember what they called it. Catalyst? No, that was just the driver. I don't know. You're running dual card setup, which, to be honest, for most games will only see you, say, a 20% increase in frames per second. ETS doesn't even use 2 cards, it only uses 1. And you tend to get more problems by running 2 cards, so unless you have a program that needs 2 cards specifically, probably better off running 1 card, and has less heat as well. Crossfire, that's the word. I haven't touched an AMD graphics card setup in such a long time, I forgot. Run out of coffee. Grr. This is definitely a lonely game when you're a multiplayer and there's no one else around. I might swap over to single player after this. Oh, wait. Max temp you've seen is 89. That, to me, that's warm. Depending on your CPU, you need to check that. To give you an example, I've been playing this game now for 1 hour 49. My max temperature is 60. Granted, it may be cooler where I am. But 89, on some cards you're reaching thermal limit, depending on the graphics card or the CPU. Some CPUs are 90 degrees thermal limits. How long have you had the PC as well? Because if you've had it a while, and if it's not been had the side panel taken off, maybe it needs a bit of a dust on the inside. Hopefully though that 89 isn't a common theme. Otherwise, yeah, I would get somebody looking at that. The way I treat my PC, GPU or CPU, if it's going over 70, then I'm wondering why. Usually 70 and below for me, and I'm happy. But that's because I'm probably picky as well. I will admit. Well, I'd still be wondering why it's hitting a max of 89. That does seem high. As I say, thermal limits for a lot of components is around 90 degrees. There are some which will push further, but not much. An i7 will be better, it's just finding out what percentage it's better by. Or how many FPS. As I said before, you know, if your game gets 40 but the i7 has only given you 45, it's not really worth the extra. But if yours gives you 40 but the i7 has given you 80, then absolutely. I mean, chances are, you know, the i7 will be a significant jump. I would just like to see that the difference between the two CPUs in-game environment is going to make it worth your money. Otherwise, you could be spending, you know, 170 quid, 130 quid, sorry, on a CPU and have very little difference. And remember, when you buy the i7, you may need to buy a cooler. Is the cooler let me reword this. The cooler that you have on your CPU, 1, will it fit the i7? 2, will it cool the i7? So if it doesn't, consider that you may need to spend a little bit extra for a new cooler as well. I mean, personally, if I was going to be buying an older CPU, it would be an i7 K series chip, whether it's a 3770K or a 4770K. That's what I would buy. That's 61's fine. I wouldn't argue with that. It's just strange how it peaked at 89. Maybe something else was going on. I'm back to speeding again. I've taken this speed limiter off. You know, I've never played Payday. I think I've got the Payday game, at least one of them, but I've never actually played it. It's in my Steam collection somewhere. Maybe one day I'll get round to playing it. I'm terrible. I buy games or I get stuff and I just don't play them. Someone's rocking a very fast truck. Yeah, most of the time you can run, rather than running ultra, running high, you probably won't see much of a difference anyway. You can always test your game as well. You know, put it in ultra, play for a couple of minutes, and then swap it back and change it to high or medium. You'd be surprised sometimes you can get away with running medium in some games, and you won't see much of a difference at all. Really does depend on the game. I'm not surprised. A Voodoo video card, that's really old. Jesus, I remember them. Good cards for the time though, those are the ones to have. I remember the 128 meg NVIDIA TNT graphics cards. Wonder if they'll ever bring back a TNT graphics. Makes you wonder how you could play a game before when you look at the size of the graphics cards you had before. If you were to look at an old graphics card now and compare it to a brand new graphics card, it's might as well just be a wafer thin mint. Oh, that's not slowing down. I swear my brake pedal's adjusted. I can't slow the truck down all of a sudden. I shall have to check my brakes. Actually, I think I may know what have happened there. Wait, hold on. Let me get through you. Your setup must be expensive. Notice all your extra tiny screens. You mean this one? If you mean that one, that's the Stream Deck. That's more for my streaming. Just lets me hit some quick link buttons that help me swap screens or do certain functions. This one just outputs my ATS or ETS destination and information. I can swipe that, get different graphics. I haven't put any more on there though. You can make it into a button box as well. And this one really is just more general information for speed of the truck, gear, things like that. What, you mean these? Yeah, it adds up. Let's just say it's over 5k, and that's mean giving it quite a low mark. But that's just a sequential shifter for my race games, and that's a handbrake. And then I've got a 8-speed shifter by here, which is off screen, but it does have a man truck shifter on top, so I can do all the gears. What do we got? 4 hours and 8. This keeps me sane, shall we say. I'd started streaming because my evenings I was pretty much stuck in the house because I'm a single father with a 10-year-old son now. And obviously when he goes to bed, it's not as if I can go out and do anything. I'm stuck in the house, and I'm not a great fan of TV, so I thought, well, I enjoy my games, what else can I do? And I thought, well, I can do some streaming. I can kind of talk to people or talk to myself when I'm streaming. So I started doing that, basically. So this has become a little hobby for me, something to do in the evenings when it's quiet for me. Yeah, that's the one. The small one, you know, it's just there for quick reference. I mean, yes, I've got the same information here, but smaller. But that's just easier to do quick glance. It used to be behind the wheel, but because now I've moved the screens closer to the wheel, for my race games, most of the information comes through the hole in the wheel anyway on the screen. But I'm not going to get rid of that, so I use it as a secondary screen. And it's good to glance at because sometimes that's more legible than what's on the screen. But I would recommend having at least one tablet if you're into your sim driving. Because it's very flexible. You can make this into a button box as well. You can have buttons assigned and put characters in so you know what they are, and you can just press away and it'll change the functions rather than using the keyboard. Just depends how flashy you want to get with everything. You don't have to, obviously. Well, you know, we've all got our hobbies. Maybe I've gone a little bit overboard. But, you know, this for the past year has kept me sane, shall we say, since I've invested heavily in this rig. But I'm pretty much there. There's not much else I want to change now. As I said earlier in the video, I've got a new VR headset coming tomorrow, so that'll be tried and tested, and I'll make a decision as to whether I'm keeping it or changing from the Vive to a Rift S. I would like to look at going for something like a Valve Index VR headset, but you know what? I just want a simpler life with VR, and I think inside-out tracking is the way to go. The Vive doesn't do inside-out tracking, so I've kind of knocked it off the list. But if the Rift S is poor, then I may look at a Valve Index instead. But we shall see. Yeah, and this is it, see? You know, I'd love to be able to get in a race car and, you know, go for racing weekends, but I can't afford to do that, so this is my second best. This allows me to race as often as I like, crash as much as I like, and come out living the other side, which is great. Everybody drives so quick. Exactly. Let's face it though, if I actually took a car on a track at full speed, I'd probably end up banging it into a wall and crashing and killing myself. So, at least in this I can do that and not have to worry about killing myself. That's always a bonus. One hour 42 to go. We're getting there. Man, this has taken 2 hours to do this job. Granted, it was 44 hours, but still. Well, granted, it wouldn't be expensive for me because I'd be dead. So I wouldn't need to worry about that aspect. My family would. But that's their problem. That's kind of selfish, but hey, nothing I can do about it. I'd be dead. I'd have to take out one of those funeral plans. Eesh. What's my fuel like? 370. Yeah, we're fine. 42 miles to go. 55 minutes. See, if you could have the game looking like this in VR, you'd be happy. I know I would. I'd love to have it look. I'd love to put a VR headset on and just have it looking like this. And I'd be like, yep, this is it. This is where it's starting to be bang on the money. Okie dokie, enjoy your food. Talking about food now, you make me hungry. That's not fair. I've had my food though, no more. Coffee for me, that's what I'll be having. Burning coming up on the right. Nearly there, 11 minutes away. And we're gonna mark it in. Great, it's right at the end. Oops. little bit too much of an angle. Cleared one. Ah, I didn't want to do that. That's the wrong button, idiot. Oh, we've gone up a level. I think. Or did we? Or didn't we? I thought we did, but obviously I may have not seen it because my wheel was in the way. Where are we? Okay, we've got a bit of cash. Let's have a look at the old map. It's growing, we're getting there slowly. Anyway, this has been, what, 2 hours 15 now. I'm going to take a break. I may come back if I got time and do some single player. But we shall see. Keep an eye out on Discord. I'll leave a message or just hit the old notification bell here and you'll get warning of it then. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. So bye for now.